Hello and welcome to Larissa's Kitchen. Today I'm making truffle tartlets. These single-serving chocolate-filled tartlet delights are sure to please even the most die-hard chocoholic. We're starting with the truffle filling first because that's going to have to cool to a pipeable consistency. For that, we're going to need 6 tablespoons of butter, 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and 12 ounces of a very good quality semi-sweet chocolate. This is all going in the pan and we're going to take it over to melt. I have this pan on over medium-low heat. We're going to heat this very gently until everything is melted. I'm going to stir this continuously until it melts. I don't want any chocolate burned on the bottom. Okay, now that this is completely melted, it's going to go in the refrigerator to cool, probably for close to 2.5 hours. During that time, we're going to get our tartlet shells together. While I put this tartlet dough together, I'm just going to let the chocolate cool on the countertop for a few minutes. I don't want to put a hot pan in my refrigerator. For these shells, we're going to need 1.25 cups of all-purpose flour, about 1 tablespoon of white granulated sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt that we're going to pulverize very finely, along with 1/4 cup each of cold butter and shortening. We're also going to need about 4 tablespoons of ice cold water. Let's first get this salt pulverized. Next, we add the salt and the sugar to the flour, mix that just a little bit, and then we're going to cut in the fat with a pastry knife until this mixture resembles sand. Okay, this consistency looks pretty good. We need to add 4 tablespoons of ice cold water to this, 1 tablespoon at a time, and we're going to sprinkle it on here. I'm just going to mix it very gently with a dinner fork. You can see that this has come into shape, so we're going to go ahead and take it over to the dry granite, form it into a disc, wrap it in plastic wrap, and then this is going into the refrigerator for an hour. Because that truffle filling makes so much, I've made 3 tartlet dough recipes. Each one of these recipes is going to make approximately 15 tartlet shells. These are 2-inch tartlets and we measure that across the bottom of the pan. We're going to be rolling this dough to 1/8 inch thick, which is why I have my rolling pin outfitted with these 1/8 inch thick bands. That'll make sure everything's nice and even. I'm going to cut them into 3-inch circles, and I'm using this 2-cup freezer canister to do that. This is 3 inches across, the plastic is smooth and very thin, and it works perfectly. So let's get these over to the granite. Alright, I'm just going to cover my surface with a little bit of flour, and then I'm going to cut this disc in half. We're going to work half at a time. I've sprinkled this with just a little bit of flour. We don't want to use too much or this could get tough. We're going to go ahead and just roll this out until it's 1/8 inch thick. tartlet pans have not been treated with anything. There's plenty of fat in this dough. We're just going to ease each shell in here and gently press it to the sides. My oven is also preheated to 425 degrees, and I do have my convection oven on. I'm re-rolling the scraps so that I can get all 15 filled. We need to dock the bottom and the sides just a little bit. These shells are going in that preheated oven for 12 to 15 minutes. And we want to err on the side of overdone rather than underdone. They're not going to get baked anymore, and we definitely don't want them to be pasty on the inside. So I know from trial and error these need to go in my oven for about 14 minutes. That truffle mixture is going to take approximately 2.5 hours to cool to pipeable consistency. We're going to check it every 45 minutes just to make sure and give it a stir. We need to depan all these tartlet shells, and they need to cool completely before we can fill them with truffle mixture. This is still very loose. This has only been an additional 20 minutes, but I was checking it because I don't want it to get too stiff, otherwise we won't be able to pipe it at all. I think probably just another 20 minutes is all we're going to need. Okay, we want our truffle filling to be about the consistency of peanut butter, which it is. To fill these truffle tartlets, I've got a large 16-inch piping bag, a large coupler, and a large star tip. I've also got a piece of plastic wrap down. Now this is going to help me get that truffle filling into the piping bag. Okay, to put this together, if you've never done it, the inside of the coupler goes inside the bag and it sticks out the bottom. You will have to trim your bag so that this fits. Then the star tip goes over top, and then the quick disconnect coupler goes on top of that. This needs to be screwed down tight. This is where this plastic wrap comes in handy. We're just going to scoop this out onto the plastic wrap, fold it over, and then we can carefully place it inside the bag. Just scoop it out close to one end. Okay, then we're going to fold these ends in, leaving an opening right here. And we'll just tuck this down and fold it over. Then we just carefully pick this up and slide it down in. The plastic wrap also helps keep the truffle filling from coming out the end. I'm just going to shake this down to the bottom, hold on to it, and then give it a couple of twists. Now it's ready to use. These are some of the shells from the first two. We don't want to overfill this because we want to be able to eat this all as one little dessert. So we're just going to swirl it in and fill it about 1/4 inch full. Alright, it's time to give these a taste. I know these are delicious. I've made them several times in the past. A chocoholic's dream. tasty.